fucking racist. Sorry, I didn't hear you, bitch. What?
When you first meet Maddy Perez, you think you know her. You've seen her 100 times before. She's the girl with the perfect boyfriend, the perfect outfits, and the perfectly intimidating stare. She is, for all intents and purposes, the final boss of high school, the mean girl. And we're conditioned to wait for her downfall. But Euphoria doesn't give us that satisfaction. Instead, it slowly, meticulously unravels everything we think we know about her. It peels back the layers of her perfect performance to reveal the raw, wounded, and fiercely loyal girl underneath. The girl who loves as hard as she fights. This isn't a story about a mean girl getting what she deserves. It's an exploration of what it costs to maintain that image. Maddy Perez forces us to ask a more complicated question. Not what makes a girl mean, but what happens when a good person has to learn to act mean just to survive. Chapter 1. The Blueprint. Meet the mean girl. On the surface, Maddy Perez checks all the boxes. She's the undisputed it girl of Euphoria High. She has an almost supernatural level of confidence, a sharp tongue that can cut you down in seconds, and yes, some pretty serious anger issues. She's even got the star quarterback boyfriend, Nate Jacobs, completing the picture-perfect image of the high school power couple. When she walks down the hall, people notice. They might admire her, fear her, or both, but they are always looking. And in some ways, she leans into that role. She can be intimidating, dismissive, and she's not afraid of a confrontation. But that's where the similarities to the classic trope end. The key difference, the thing that rewrites the entire character, is justification. Think about it. Regina George's cruelty is arbitrary. Her power comes from creating and enforcing frivolous rules, like only wearing a ponytail once a week. Her sabotage is for sport, a way to maintain a social hierarchy that serves no one but herself. But Maddy's anger is almost never random. It's retaliatory. It's a form of justice, however skewed and intense it might be. She doesn't attack people for wearing the wrong outfit. She attacks them for being bad friends, for betraying her trust, or for disrespecting her. Her anger has a source, and it's usually one we can understand, even if we don't condone her explosive methods. This completely changes how we see her. When Regina George gets hit by a bus, it's played for laughs. It's her karma. But when Maddy's hurt, emotionally or physically, we feel it deeply. We don't cheer for her downfall. We find ourselves rooting for her to win. Euphoria doesn't just present us with a caricature to hate. It takes the familiar outline of a queen bee and fills it with the grit, trauma, and complexity of a real person. Maddy isn't a true mean girl. She's a survivor, playing the part of one, because it's the only role that offers her power in a world that's constantly trying to take it away from her. Chapter 2. The Armor. Confidence from the outside in. Maddy's power isn't something she has. It's something she wears. Her entire persona is a meticulously crafted performance, and that impenetrable confidence is built from the outside in, like a custom-made suit of armor. Let's start with her fashion. Her outfits are more than just clothes. They are declarations of control. Those iconic, perfectly coordinated IMG sets, the daring cutouts, the sheer fabrics, it's a uniform of her own creation. In a life where she feels increasingly powerless, especially within the chaos of her relationship with Nate, her style is her way of imposing order. It's an external projection of the togetherness she's desperately trying to maintain on the inside. Unlike the plastics, who follow a collective rule to wear pink, Maddy sets her own trends. Her style is a projection of individualistic, self-made power. And then, of course, there's the makeup. As Euphoria's makeup artist Donnie Davy famously said, a Maddy wing is always the sharpest wing, sharp like a knife to cut through whatever stands in her way. Her makeup isn't about looking pretty in a conventional sense, it's war paint. The precision of that eyeliner, the carefully placed rhinestones, the glossy, defined lips, It all creates a mask of intimidating flawlessness. It's a visual statement that says, I am in control. You cannot touch me. Her face becomes a fortress before she even has to say a word. And the most crucial piece of her armor is her philosophy, the one she shares with Lexi in a rare moment of vulnerability. 90% of life is confidence. And the thing about confidence is no one knows if it's real or not. That isn't just a clever line, it's Maddy's entire survival guide. She understands that in the brutal social landscape of high school, appearing powerful is often just as effective as being powerful. She has mastered the art of faking it until you make it, projecting an image of being completely untouchable, even when, especially when, she's falling apart. For Maddy, the performance isn't fake. The performance is the point. It's what keeps her standing. And it's that very armor that protects the deeply loyal and surprisingly fragile person underneath. Chapter 3. The Code. A new kind of loyalty. So, if Maddy's confidence is a carefully constructed performance, what about her court? In the classic Mean Girl playbook, friends are accessories, easily replaceable and ranked by their usefulness. They are followers, not equals. But this is where Maddy truly shatters the trope. Her friendships aren't transactional, they are everything. When she calls Cassie her soulmate, she means it. The girls in her inner circle, Cassie, Kat, and BB, aren't just her clique, they're her chosen family. A fortress of support in a world that's constantly letting her down. Unlike the plastics, who love to tear each other down, Maddy's loyalty is fierce and deeply empathetic. When Cassie is at her lowest, Maddy's the one holding her, offering quiet, unconditional support. There's no hint of exploitation, no sense that she's collecting secrets to use later. She's just there for her friend. Even her anger is filtered through this code of loyalty. When she finally confronts Kat in season 2, it's not because Kat broke some arbitrary social rule. It's because, in Maddy's eyes, Kat is being a bad friend. Not just to the group, but to her kind, loving boyfriend, Ethan. Her anger comes from a place of genuine moral indignation. She can't stand to see someone she cares about be treated badly, and she can't stand to see one of her own friends be the one doing it. This is what makes Maddy so compelling and so different. We root for her because her power isn't just used for self-preservation. It's used to protect the people she loves. Her inner circle isn't a cult of personality. It's a genuine, if sometimes chaotic, support system. And it's this deep capacity for love and loyalty that makes her greatest weakness so tragic.
Chapter 4. The Achilles heel, the Nate problem. For all the strength Maddy draws from her friends, there's one relationship that consistently pierces her armor: Nate Jacobs. On the surface, they are the performance of a lifetime. They're the king and queen of Euphoria High, the couple everyone watches, envies, and gossips about. Their public displays of affection are as much a part of their identity as Maddy's winged eyeliner. They are playing the roles of the perfect, aspirational power couple, and for a while, it seems like they've even convinced themselves. But behind closed doors, that performance crumbles. Their relationship is a deeply toxic cycle of love-bombing, manipulation, and both emotional and physical abuse. Nate is the one person who knows exactly where the cracks in her armor are, and he exploits them relentlessly. This isn't just a bad romance, it's a trauma bond. Maddy isn't weak for staying. She's trapped in a dynamic that has fundamentally warped her perception of love and passion. The moments of tenderness are as intense as the moments of violence, and she becomes addicted to the emotional roller coaster. The show makes this devastatingly clear with one of its most haunting lines of narration. It wasn't the violence that scared her. It was the fact that she knew, no matter what he did, she'd still love him. That's the core of her Achilles heel. The very armor she uses to protect herself from the world is completely useless against the one person she lets get too close. Her performance of control is a desperate attempt to create the reality of the perfect love story she's always dreamed of, even as the real relationship is actively destroying her. And it's this vulnerability, this deep, painful crack in her otherwise flawless facade that sets the stage for her biggest reckoning yet. Chapter 5: The Reckoning and the Mentor, Breaking the Cycle. So what happens when the one thing you value most, loyalty, is shattered by the two people you trusted most in the world? In Season 2, Maddy finds out. The betrayal by Nate and her best friend Cassie is the ultimate violation of her code. It isn't just about a boy, it's about the destruction of a bond she considered sacred. This leads to her explosive confrontation at Lexi's play. It's messy, it's public, and it's painful. But when she finally looks at a broken and defeated Cassie and says, "Don't worry, this is just the beginning," it's one of the most important moments in her arc. It's not just a threat, it's a prophecy. Maddy, having survived the cycle of abuse with Nate, now recognizes it from the outside. She sees that Cassie is just starting down the same dark path she finally managed to escape. It's a moment of profound, if bitter, maturation. But out of that wreckage comes something unexpected, a glimpse of a different future. She finds a new mentor in Samantha, the wealthy mother she babysits for. Samantha is elegant, wise, and independent. She's the anti-Marcia Jacobs, a woman who has built a life for herself on her own terms, free from the drama of toxic men. When Samantha gifts Maddy a vintage dress and tells her, "Don't look back," it's more than just a nice gesture. It's symbolic. It's an older, wiser woman telling Maddy that her past with Nate doesn't have to define her future. It's as if she's being handed a costume for a new, more mature role, one that she gets to write for herself. Conclusion: the legacy of a new queen. So, in the end, Maddy Perez isn't just a reinvention of the mean girl. She's a complete dismantling of it. Euphoria uses the familiar image of the queen bee to tell a much deeper story about survival, trauma, and the incredible strength it takes to define yourself in a world that's trying to do it for you. And her story shows us that the hyper-confident persona, the sharp eyeliner, and the cutting remarks aren't always signs of a villain. Sometimes they're the armor of a young woman who is fighting to hold herself together. And perhaps the most revolutionary thing about Maddy's story is how it ends. Unlike the queen bees of the past, Maddy isn't taken down by a rival or humbled by a public shaming. She isn't dethroned. Instead, she chooses to abdicate. She looks at the chaos, the pain, and the endless cycle of her life with Nate, and she makes the conscious choice to walk away. She leaves the drama of Euphoria High not broken, but wiser, ready to build a confidence that's no longer just an act, but something real and entirely her own. If you would like to check out my video essay on Cassie Howard as well, the link is in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the characters you love. Thanks for watching.